My apologies, guys. Are you guys still seeing the screen here?
I see the screen as the picture of me.
Okay, sorry, my screen went black. So I do apologize. We did have a icebreaker question. I just jumped into the agenda and I didn't push into the slide. But the simple question was, how are you doing today? So while you guys were trickling in, the first question that we talked about was just how fast the semester has flown by. So the next question is just how are you doing today? I feel a lot of the times these weeks just become kind of a blur. So kind of stopping and really evaluating how are we right now. So how are you doing?
A lot of us are probably busy with projects right now. I'm glad you guys are here taking some of your time.
Yes, it's like that crunch time right now. I feel like we're almost there, getting into May, starting to study for finals. It's jungle, not sure. Starting to study for finals. Where are you studying these days? Where are you studying? I know we're in quarantine, but I mean, we could say our living room, in a room full of distractions. I feel like things are kind of starting to normalize. I've been trying to go to like different downtown coffee shops to just like work on my computer. Of course, we're all wearing our mask, but it's still kind of nice to be in a different environment.
I have an interesting fact for you regarding that. It's better to do your work outside of your room because it'll be harder to sleep in your room if that's your workspace, because then your brain will associate it with your workspace and not your sleeping space.
Oh, yes, man. So let's get some, that makes me think, how many of us do our work in our bedroom or in our bed? Okay, so room and sometimes in your backyard. So I'm getting sad because we're starting to get this heat coming into the valley. So we're gonna end up just being like vampires. Oh, so you got a little workspace in your room. That's really awesome that you have that. Sweet. All right, friends, we're gonna continue. And I do apologize for that mix-up on the icebreaker. I had a poll and a question, and I just felt like I was just already in the zone. So we're gonna get into 3 topics, and through those topics, we're also gonna have some questions as well as a breakout after a video. So we're gonna be talking about stepping outside your comfort zone, toxic friendships and health, and social support and health.
Hey, hello, I'm Priscilla. Thank you guys again for coming out today. So the first topic I'm going to talk about is stepping outside your comfort zone. So as you approach a new place where you're surrounded by unfamiliar faces, you may feel compelled to shrink back and stick to what's familiar instead of making the effort to put yourself out there and meet new people. I can tell you when I started my first year at NAU, I knew absolutely no one around me. And just being a shy person, I kind of had my head down for the majority of the year. I talked to friends from high school over the phone, and I stayed in my dorm room a little bit too much. I did meet people during this time, but overall I felt kind of lonely because I had stuck with what was comfortable instead of putting myself out there. When the year ended, I decided that I would make more of an effort during my second year, and I'm glad I did. I made plans with people I had met during my freshman year, and I went to campus events where I got to meet more people, and I established closer friendships during this time. So, why is it important to make friends during college? So, many studies that have been done on college students suggest that friendship in college is associated with higher life satisfaction. Research on college students also suggests that those who have a higher sense of university belonging feel more socially accepted and socially adjusted. When I started forming a social circle at NAU, my college campus kind of started feeling more like home to me. So, creating that social circle is important in creating a sense of belonging at your university and just kind of feeling like you're in the right place. Okay, so in the chats, I want you guys to share your experience of how it was adjusting and adapting to either or both high school and college life.
So while people are thinking about that, would you like to, Jonathan, would you like to share your experience kind of first day getting into college or how you adapted?
Yes, of course. Just give me a moment. My camera's being weird.
You don't have to turn on your camera if it's acting silly.
Okay. So just to kind of discuss like my experience when I started off college is I was able to get make some good friends. I was very social, and I had an interesting experience because I was I was having a hard time at NAU because it was like I didn't find my group. I didn't find my culture. There's not as many as Latinos as there are now, but there's not that many Latinos now still. And I just didn't feel like I didn't feel a sense of belonging. I didn't feel like I belonged to any club. And because of my personality also, I was very arrogant. Like I came from a high school where I was the best. I was an athlete. I was a vocalist. I was just all kinds of like clubs. I was just well known for, and to be in like a big fish in a going from a big fish in a small pond to a big fish in an ocean, it was just different for me. And just making friends for a while was difficult because I had to get past my arrogance. So I learned to become more humble, and I did become more humble because it was more competitive. There's different students in different clubs and things I would apply for. And what really helped change my perception was just making friends that were really watching out for me, because you have friends that are like, those that take care of you, that help you, but those that also critique you in ways that you could do better. So because I was also like not making a lot of friends, I was in a way, I grew up in an environment where I had to be careful around white people. And I'll just say it flat out. I was nervous to talk to white people because of racism, because of like what was on TV. And I had a couple white friends, but I was even nervous to talk to white professionals because I didn't know what they would think of me. I had to get past that. I had to stop assuming that white people all are rich and they have it better off than people of color at the moment. And I had to get past like that they're not judging me. It's not a thing that's happening all the time. So I was able to talk with my professors and everybody, and I found out like one of my professors was a first generation college student. And that's what really changed it for me when I found out, because oh wait, they're not that different from us. Like, why am I putting this persona? I'm being prejudiced and I'm judging people now. So I had to get my mindset out of that because I grew up in that environment where it's all diverse, and it was just great to like be able to just break that break that mentality. So then I was able to make more friends, and I was able to connect and fit in with more people, instead of always just assuming these things. And so that was like my college experience. And ever since then, I just made really good friends and adjusted.
Thank you
pretty
for
well.
sharing, Jonathan. That was
Yeah.
a lot of excellent points. And I think it's you mentioning that if there was that intimidation, I think that's very normal, especially with first generation. We grow up in environments where sometimes our parents don't really know the college culture, and it can be an intimidating experience where we don't have someone under our wing kind of showing us and guiding us and letting us know um, that sometimes the things that we perceive are very false and not true, and we all have equal opportunities. Continuing on, we can continue, Priscilla. And guys, just please keep checking in on the chats. There's lots of great comments in there. We'll keep continuing, but if you have something that you want to say or share, by all means, continue sharing in the chat.
Okay, so while we're still on the topic of university belonging, multiple studies have suggested that college students who have a higher sense of university belonging perceive less stress and have higher life satisfaction. We could get into why that is. Next slide. So lower levels of stress during university belonging can be explained by the fact that social circles can facilitate one's coping with stress. Your social group can be an outlet for you to lower your stress because you'll have things to do, and you'll also have people to rant to about things that are stressing you out. Being able to talk things out is always helpful. It's also been suggested that social circles facilitate one's learning and understanding because you have people that you can share the concepts that you're learning with, and talking out those concepts facilitates better understanding and learning. So having that circle can benefit your grades as well. Okay, so we're gonna ask you to pop in the chat. What are some reasons you think a sense of belonging may help with stress management?
I feel like this question really resonates what some of you were sharing in previous comments, but some of them were mentioning the factor of the onset of getting into college. So once you have immersed and you've adapted and you build this sense of belonging, in what ways do you identify like, oh, this made me feel good, whether it was an interaction online, a discussion board, or an in-person interaction? In what ways did you feel it was managing your stress? I know sometimes we can get in circles in our head, so maybe it's sharing and venting to someone. I'll give you a few moments to think about that. I know a big factor for me as far as a sense of belonging, I think it happens in all places, like in your classrooms, even at home. But one that resonates the most for me is just the relationship that I have with my partner. Although it's to the smallest circle on the interpersonal level, it's definitely a person that I can it sounds kind of selfish, but it's like you're unloading your stressors to that one person that cares, or this could also be applicable to your stress about maybe a professor or an instructor changed a due date on an assignment or increase the load.
Yeah, I also think definitely small circles are most helpful in that because you're kind of more close knit. So I think what you're saying about your partner, that totally makes sense. That's the friend that you're probably closest with.
So Priscilla, would you be able to answer this question of what do you think there's like a healthy circle amount for that kind of small circle? Do you think 3 to 5, or can it be even larger? Where I'm just thinking in the sense of someone losing their voice because maybe they're somewhat introvert in a party of a bunch of extroverts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that is when I'm in a big group with a lot of people, I feel like I can lose my voice. You could still have a large group of friends. I think just spending time one-on-one is the best if you have a large group of friends. Yeah, I think a group with 2 or 3 other people is good. You could also have just multiple small groups. That's kind of what I have. Is I don't really have one large group. I have multiple small groups of friends.
Right. All right, friends, we're going to continue moving on with the slides here.
Okay, so while we're talking about university belonging and putting yourself out there to meet people, I also want to talk about toxic friendships because as we meet people in a new place, we may encounter people that are a lot of fun, but are not necessarily good to us. Spending time with people like this can be damaging because research shows that feeling socially isolated or not socially integrated is linked to negative health outcomes. Toxic people are not likely to help you feel socially integrated and can even make you feel isolated. Some of you could probably know what I'm talking about, have had friends like this. So it's important to spot people like this and stay away from them when as you're meeting new people.
Yeah, excellent point, Priscilla. It's funny, I was just posting in the chats how for me, in regards to kind of any social groups, that it really does take some time for me to kind of evaluate, is this a group that I feel comfortable sharing who I am without kind of like the repercussions of sharing who I am with and then receiving judgment, because that I feel like I've experienced that before and it really hurt my self-esteem.
Yes, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you've got to have a group that you feel safe with to be able to share. So Ivet said, sorry if I'm butchering your name. Like Priscilla had mentioned, feeling comfortable with people going through things similar to us can help with stress and academics in new settings. So they can keep in check with schoolwork, how are you doing on a daily basis, and generally having fun to distract from stressful thoughts. Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, good point.
And please note, guys, I have a thread of this on the Discord server. So these chats that we have, I will be copying them and pasting them there just for our own personal archive. But we're going to shift to the next slide here, and we're going to have a video here.
Yeah, so we're going to watch a video on the differences between good friends and toxic friends. Then we'll go into breakout rooms and discuss the video.
Let me get this shared up real quick. 1 second, my screen just went black again. Yeah, this is just going to be a short little video and then we'll get broken out. All right, I'm gonna get it started and you let me know if we're having some audio issues. Let me play it.
Hey, Psych2Goers. First things
Are we good?
first, we would like to give you a big thank you for all the love and support you've given us.
Sounds good.
If you find this video helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Now, let's begin. In this journey called life, you will not only meet good friends who are always there to support you, encourage you, and want the best for you in your life, but also toxic ones along the way who only perceive you as an opportunity for their own personal gain. These friendships will affect you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So, how do we differentiate between a real friend and a toxic friend? Here are 4 differences between good friends and toxic friends. 1. Good friends protect you when you're vulnerable. A good friend will take care of you when you need to be cared for and supported. Do you have a friend who protects you when you're at your lowest point in life? Or listens to you with empathy and provides emotional safety and reassurance when you went through a bad day? Good friends are typically good listeners. They wouldn't mind listening to you vent for hours and generally care about your well-being because they genuinely miss you and love your presence around them. Toxic friends only take, demand a lot, and give little back. On the other hand, toxic friends look out for only themselves and measure their friendships by what they can gain from you. Do you know anyone who's always calculating when it comes to helping you out, even when you've helped them many times? Whenever they help you out, they always expect something in return. They might even guilt trip you when you're unable to help them. Truth is, the decisions and actions of a toxic friend are mostly made based on fear and ego. 2. Good friends are trustworthy and accept you for who you are. Good friends are true from the bottom of their hearts. They'll share their secrets while protecting yours. Do you have a friend who confides in you because they trust you and you would do the same for them? When you're in pain physically, mentally, or emotionally, they won't back away. And during times when you isolate yourself to a harmful degree, they make sure you're okay and they're there for you. They're the kind of friends that are easygoing, as they're not judgmental of who you are. You don't have to hide your truth because they accept you for who you are. Toxic friends give praises to your face and stab you in the back. These people are known as two-faced friends. They can say nice things right in front of you, but behind you, it's a whole different story that could blow your mind. They have a habit of gossiping behind your back without your knowledge. Everything they say to you is sugar-coated. They're dishonest and only say things that you want to hear. And this becomes a problem because they won't stop you from making regretful decisions, even when they're aware of the consequences. Toxic friends often have a weak morale. For example, even when things go wrong, they show you not to take ownership of your wrongdoings. 3. Good friends are mature and responsible. Good friends guide you on the right path. They listen earnestly to you and try to understand where you're coming from. The conversations you have with them can be real deep. To find out whether someone is a good friend, ask yourself, do they often respond when you talk to them about your problems? Are they patient and empathetic? Or are they bored and indifferent? Toxic friends are reckless and immature. These friends recklessly involve you in situations that make you uncomfortable and regret later on, such as getting drunk in an unsafe environment or putting you in situations where you need to always lie to others. Sound familiar? If so, how do you plan to get out of this situation? It's good to be aware and recognize the signs as early as possible. If not, you'll have an even harder time trying to get out of this loophole because your Jiminy Cricket is lost somewhere. And lastly, good friends are compassionate with you and others. They're understanding and caring. For example, when you are stressed or struggling to cope with your mental health, they become supportive and follow your pace of getting better. This type of friend is rare to find because usually everyone else rushes you to recover as soon as possible. When sharing your success and happiness, they congratulate and celebrate with you. When you're grieving about a loss, they'll be there for you. Good friends do not only defend your name when you're not around, but also encourage others of your good qualities. Toxic friends give you false hope and impressions. They talk the talk but don't walk the walk. In other words, they often make promises they can't keep. Have you ever met someone who always boasts about their past good deeds or achievements? If yes, don't take it for granted, even if they add in between apologies for seeming braggy. To spot a toxic friend like this, try asking for a similar favor or a promise they made in the past. and see how they respond. Do they back out on you by giving excuses, or do they follow through with what they initially preached? Do any of these points mentioned above remind you of anyone? Do you have more good friends or toxic friends in your life? Or do you identify with being a good friend or a toxic friend? Remember, no one is perfect. What matters is we learn and we become a better version of ourselves. If you have a friend who is affecting your life in a negative way, what do you plan to do next? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay, so before we go into breakout rooms, I just want to go over the major points of the video. So the first major point being that good friends provide emotional safety, while toxic friends really only look out for themselves. Second point is that good friends are genuine and trustworthy, and toxic friends are likely to stab you in the back. Third point is good friends are mature, while toxic friends are immature. And the fourth point is good friends are compassionate, and toxic friends make empty promises. So what I'd like you guys to talk about in breakout rooms is, did the video make you think of any current friends or past friends? If you've had a toxic friend, maybe talk about how they made you feel. And if not, maybe just talk in general about how you think that type of friendship would affect somebody.
So at this moment, Priscilla, you shared those main points. I will be writing out the breakout session questions. During that time, can you also post those main points in the chats for them to review those as well, please?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We're going to give it a few moments so we can get those main points on the board, the chat board here. And we're just going to break out we have 11 participants here. So we will break you guys out into two parties, and you guys should be able to have your own chat box that you guys can chat. It would probably be a lot easier if someone just steps up, unmutes, and address the questions that are being asked. Once we come back, we will ask, because of the size of the party, we might just ask one or two. But if conversation's flowing and you want to share a point, by all means, we'll definitely accommodate to that. Priscilla, is it okay? I'm going to break out for room 1. I'm going to break out Jonathan in that room, and for room 2, I will break you out in that room. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Sounds good. All right, I sent the invite if you guys want to take the invite and join. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. I will keep time. We are still recording. We just have 2 breakout rooms with our students in the room, and they are addressing the following questions. Did the video make you think of any current or past friends? How would those friends make you feel? In watching the video, we did release into the chats the main points being good friends provide emotional safety, toxic friends only look out for themselves, good friends are genuine and trustworthy, and toxic friends stab you in the back. Good friends are mature and toxic friends are immature. Good friends are compassionate and toxic friends make empty promises. So with those main points in the chat, they are reminiscing on the video, reminiscing on those main points, and addressing those questions.
Right, so it looks like everybody is back. I thought we'd do a little discussion about what we talked about in our groups. So if anybody wants to start, you can just hop on the mic right now.
By all means, if you want to share maybe some main points or specifics in the chats, feel free. Jonathan, was there any main points that you can extract or that was said or shared? Maybe that you want to do a call out from one of the students based off what they shared.
We've had some good points. I think if Yvette wants to share, or Gustavo. Gustavo mentioned something about family, like cousins, friends, and things like that. I don't know if one of you two wants to share your experience.
Mine was just that I said that the good people to stay connected with is like family, basically, like cousins, especially because they're the ones that I basically talk to more on the daily.
So that's a really great point. Family is always everything. But Gustavo, I have a question for you. What would you tell people who aren't really close to their family? Like what would you say to them?
I don't know. I mean, just even if they haven't checked up on you, I mean, just be the bigger person and check up on them. And then that's how you can basically create your relationship with them.
That
My cousins came from Mexico. Well, they were from here, but like they moved to Mexico for like 10 years, and they came back, and we just started talking, and ever since then, like I talk with them like almost every day again. So
that's great. That you truly hit it on the nail with just being the bigger person and reaching out to them. I feel like even myself, I have those challenges that I'm just conflicted where I would prefer preoccupying myself with another episode of Netflix than just taking those couple minutes in identifying those family members, even friends that you haven't heard from, and just reaching out to them. Priscilla, did you have specific points and maybe something that someone said that resonated that we could share?
So some of us were sharing that when we were in high school that we didn't have the greatest group of friends, but we've kind of formed a better group since then. So I think when you're younger, it's a little bit harder to understand that you're in a bad friend group. I also talked about some examples of like some toxic friends that I've had. So when you're with like a friend that is always, when you're with them, they're always having something bad to say about someone else. It's hard not to feel like that's probably how they're talking about you. So you can't really feel safe when you're with a person like that.
Right. And it's funny because it probably is pretty easy just to bring that topic of high school, because I mean, how many of us still carry that network that we had in high school over to our college? And I think the answer is it's very low. We only have a few that we kind of carry over because whether it's just differences, of course, all of us have different majors and programs. So that puts us in a new body of networks. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. We are finished with the breakout session. Thank you guys for participating in that. And we're going to move forward to the next slide here.
Okay, so the point I want you to get from this is make sure you're surrounding yourself with right people, and life is too short to spend time with people that don't make you feel good.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into how friendships affect your physical health. Toxic friendships, as mentioned in the video, they're not only bad for your mental well-being, but can also be bad for your physical well-being. People in toxic social circles report higher stress levels and poor sleep patterns. Being well rested and managing stress is important to one's health. So having a toxic social circle can damage that. All right, so let's talk about how a good social support system predicts our physical well-being.
Yeah.
So studies show that students who report making more friends also report better physical health. This can be explained by students having a positive social circle, having an outlet that facilitates coping with stress. So if you have a positive social circle, you feel safe being able to talk about whatever's going on, and that will lower your stress levels, which is overall good for your physical health. All right, so we're going to talk about the stress hormone known as cortisol. when under stress, your brain perceives a fight or flight situation, and this is when cortisol levels go up. So basically what cortisol does is it curbs functions that are not essential and could be possibly damaging during fight or flight situations. This leads to changes in your immune system, your digestive system, reproductive system, and growth processes. If you endure a great amount of stress, long-term increased cortisol levels can put you at risk for many health problems such as anxiety, digestive problems, and heart disease. Research suggests that social rejection and social threats are linked with greater cortisol reactivity, which means greater stress. If you are in a social group that doesn't make you feel safe, you'll be under more stress. And as stated before, too much stress can lead to greater risk of health problems. So having a positive social support system will reduce your stress, and this reduces stress-related symptoms, and that improves overall health. Research indicates that perceived social support is associated with the decrease in stress-related symptoms. So you have less cortisol reactivity and inflammation and any other problems that might come with cortisol reactivity and inflammation. So bottom line, find your social circle and make sure it's a positive one.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. These last points are really critical, especially the one about just mentioning the specifics of cortisol and it being in our body. Just think about those times where you felt uncomfortable in a situation and you feel your heart rate increasing. You know, that is that chemical releasing in your body, telling it that it needs to fight or it needs to flight, you know. And being in that situation, it truly is toxic. And that chronically having that in your body, to her point, it leads to those things like reactivity, inflammation. So we're going to get to our last section here. I'm going to post a quick survey monkey in the chats. If you guys can take a moment just to take it, it's going to take you maybe a minute or two to complete. But sending that in the chats right now. And there is a mention about hormones. I want to recall all these other hormones so I can confuse you with it. You know, it's pretty crazy to think like the endocrine system, how much it has an influence, not only on our physical self, but also our mental self. Those chemical imbalances can bring some fogginess to us, but really honing in and identifying those, I feel like having those social circles really allows you to have some dialogue about it. You know, sometimes it's just in our heads, and when you have those people to talk about it, you kind of get to unpack it and realize that, hey, you know what? These situations, I should get it checked out, or it's a stressor that sometimes once you hear it out loud because you're sharing it with someone, it's not a big deal, you know? So once you have completed the survey, if you like, you could just send us a comment in the chats, or if you want to, you could also give us a thumbs up reaction just to confirm that. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you, Sergio. Thanks, McKenna. Thank you, Jessica. See, it was short, not too difficult. I really appreciate you guys coming and joining us. Before I get into this, I wanted to share that the community that we're trying to build out on Discord is kind of trying to bring us together and trust each other and share and vent. But most importantly, we're all coming together for one reason, and that's to finish our college and develop as individuals. But most importantly, we can develop individually all we want. But I think we really start to see prosperity when we start leveraging and also connecting with each other and using that power of community to really move things. So I just wanted to share this slide here and ask you if you have any college friends that you feel were a positive force in your life. I ask that you invite them so that they can be a positive force inside of our BALF community server. We have lots of great news for this BALF community server. We were able to get some grant funding, so we are just going to keep trying to put some more energy into it. And this energy goes into inviting all of our graduates. If you guys have been to previous events, you guys have also seen a lot of different professionals, whether it's from Bank of America or even just a lot of Jonathan's great connects. Our intentions are to invite them into the server and have a body of students, professionals, graduates, so that we can work together. And I mean, in the future, if you have a question about a certain industry and field, we hope that in the long term, we have someone there so that you can have these discussions with them, and it's in a safe environment where we know that we won't be judged, that no question is not a dumb question. So I believe if you are in the server, you should have the rights to invite people. You should be able to have like a 7-day or maybe a 24-hour link. But share it with your friends, or anyone who is attending college currently. Currently, we are trying to build some infrastructure to start inviting maybe some folks that they don't really have that drive to enroll, and they just need that push. And maybe it's a community to push them to see what it's like to be inside of a college. But everyone, again, thank you so much. And if we can at this moment, just give a round of applause reaction to Priscilla. I feel she did a great job, and I'm happy to have her present this material.
By the way, I don't think we could see the applauses because of the sharing. I don't know. I can't see anybody else's face for some reason.
Yes, I will stop sharing now. But I'm just going to throw it in the chats. Thank you so much, Priscilla.
Real applause. Real applause.
live applause.
Live applause. Hopefully that's not blowing your guys' ears.
All right, guys, we have a few minutes left. If you want to, we could reflect. We could spend these next few minutes on reflecting. What was the biggest thing that you got out of this session? I'm gonna write something real quick. There we go. I hope that we're in a time where we're making this transition now from virtual to kind of in person, but we had a whole year of virtual and I don't think it's going away. I think if anything, we've kind of had a realization that we could still function and connect with each other more than ever on these social platforms. So I hope that we go from working inside virtually to start organizing maybe some in-person events as well. I don't know how long I didn't have my video off. I'm gonna stop recording now.